Welcome to the May 18th North Middlesex Council meeting. I'll call the meeting to order. Roll call. Councilor McClinchy is not with us tonight. Disclosure of pecuniary interest. If you have any, please forward it to the clerk. Minutes of the previous meeting from May 4th, 2022 and quarter revision minutes from May 4th, 2022. Any business arising, errors or omissions? Seeing none, we need a motion to approve our minutes. Councilor Moyer, Councilor Nickel, all in favor? Carried. Delegations, we have none. We're going to start with department reports and the report from the deputy clerk for the 2022 municipal election procedures and forms. And Richard, I believe you're going to.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. If there's any questions about the report, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Any questions, council, on the report? I do believe that we have the binders ready for any potential candidates that want to come to see you. Jackie?
The recommendation.
No questions?
Well, I guess I'm being prompted to say the recommendation, which I'm pleased to do. Sorry.
That's all right, no problem.
And the recommendation is that the report entitled the 2022 municipal election procedures and forms be received, and that the 2022 municipal election procedures and forms document be subject to amendment at any time as deemed necessary and appropriate by the clerk of the municipality of North Middlesex without further direction from council. And that where amendment to the 2022 municipal election procedures and forms document occurs, such amendment be noted in the 2022 municipal election procedures and forms document, and all candidates and third-party advertisers be provided with the amendment.
Need a mover for that recommendation? Councilor Keel, Councilor Hemming, in favor? Carried. Thanks, Richard. Our next report is from the drainage superintendent. I believe our CAO is going to do this. That's a petition received for the Stebbins drainage works.
Through your worship, members of council, the report before you is a petition be received for this Stebbins drain works, and the recommendation is that council receive the notice of request for the drain improvements under section 78 of the Drainage Act, and that council receive this report and adopt R. Dobbins Engineering Limited or Inc. as the engineer to the Stebbins drainage works.
Any questions for the CEO on this? No questions. We have a recommendation in front of us. Moved by Councilor Moyer, seconded by Councilor Keogh. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. And our next one is a report from the CAO review of the Dixon Drain A, B, and C tender.
Thank you. Through your worship, members of council, this is for the tender award of the Dixon Drain A, B, and C. And the recommendation before you is that council receive this report, direct staff to award the construction of the Dixon Drain A, B, and C to Van Bree Drainage and Bulldozing Limited in the amount of $364,830.67. Just quickly on the background, we had 3 contractors close this bid where Van Bree Drainage was the lowest. I would note that we are seeing some trends in some of the contractors in terms of schedule creep and change. However, this one can meet the stipulated schedule that we identified previously.
Thank you. Any questions on this train? No questions. We have a recommendation in front of us for to award the tender. Councilor Hemming, Councilor Nickel, all in favor? Carried. The next one for the CAO is the review of the Van Dale McEwen Municipal Drain 22 tender.
Thank you. Through your worship, members of council, again, this is another tender award for municipal drain being the Van Dale McEwen drain. And the recommendation before you is that council receive this report and direct staff to award the construction to the drain to our Robinson Farm Drainage Limited in the amount of $596,920.24, including HST. Again, I would just like to highlight that we did have 3 successful closes on this, again, with some schedule creep and change, but we are able to meet the timeline stipulated in the tender document.
Okay. Any questions? Councilor Moyer?
There is. We can't explain it, and honestly, I'm going to be looking into it a little bit further. But yeah, there are some drastic changes in terms of some of the bin pricing that we're receiving from municipal drains. I would suspect that fuel costing is now becoming more predominant in speculation for some of these drains, especially when you're getting further out in the year. Exactly.
Counselor Hemming?
When it says Robinson Farm Drainage. When it says Robinson Farm Drainage, is that like the Willem C. Robinson or like the Carl Robinson? Or is it two separate?
I'd have to look into that, but I can follow up with an email.
Any other questions? No other questions? We have a recommendation in front of us. Moved by Counselor Nickel, second by Counselor Keo. All in favor? Carried. Our next report is our passing of accounts from our treasurer. Just wait for Estelle. I think we have her there now. Good evening, Estelle.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of council. So the recommendation for the report in front of you is that council receive and accept the following accounts payable report as information only. And the report outlines the municipality's expenses for the period of April 29th to May 11th. I now open the floor for questions.
Questions from council? Deputy Mayor Canales.
Thank you, Mayor Rob. Estelle, I just have a question on the $116,000 payment to Westwood Estates. Is that a security deposit refund?
Through your worship to Deputy Mayor, yes, this is a partial cash security refund for the Westwood Estates Phase 1. From the cash security partial repayment, we have deducted the cost recovery expenses for legal fees and engineering fees, and the 116,000 was the amount, the balance owing to the company.
So my follow-up question may be for the CAO then, will there be another security deposit for the other phases as we move forward?
Through your worship to the deputy mayor, that is correct.
Thank you.
Other questions on the accounts? Seeing none, need a motion to approve this report. Moved by Counselor Hemming, Counselor Keo, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Thank you, Estelle. Next time your granddaughter has to be along with you.
Oh, you should have said so last time because I had her with me then, but I will
son of a
do my
gun.
best and I will tell my daughter it's a request of the mayor.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Committee reports. Lake Huron Primary Water. Nothing there. ABCA.
Thank you, Mayor Rob. I think as you'll notice, we continue to move forward with the transition to the new act. One thing that was interesting that came up with this Conservation Authority land acquisition policy. And I asked the question because I know a number of years ago, when they acquired the lands just outside of here by the Park Hill Dam, that there was a great deal of controversy about that. So I asked if the acquire that at the current land value or how that was done. They didn't really have an answer for me, so I'm hoping to have follow up with that on tomorrow when we have our next meeting.
Any questions for the deputy mayor? No questions on that? Thanks, Adrian. Blue Water Recycling, Councilor McClinchy is not here. Economic Development, nothing there. Local School Advisory, nothing. Recreation. Okay, all right. Policies Committee. Fire Committee, anything? Okay. And the Aqua. Okay. Correspondence. Action Financial Group thanking us for approving the 2021 Community Improvement Grant. And just if anybody's been into Elsa Craig, they're redoing the facade on that. It looks pretty good. So Middlesex London Board of Health update monthly meeting summary. Receive and file. Middlesex County Council highlights. This is something that they're starting to do now they're sending to the lower tiers, and I like that. It's just a different business and just a synopsis of what went on at the last council meeting. So I think honestly, when we go to where we do county highlights or communication, including the county, I think it'd be a great time more for questions, what's been read in the correspondence. I think, so people can read that and have questions on that. Easier to answer that way. Ministry of Northern Development, Mine, Natural Resources and Forestry, Excess Soils Decision Letter. Receive and file. County of Middlesex, Spongy Moth Monitoring Program. North Middlesex to participate. I hadn't heard the term spongy moth before, but.
Is it to replace the gypsy moth?
Spongy moth. I guess that's after you step on them. That's why they're spongy. I don't know, but it's. Yes, yeah, that's what it is a gypsy moth that we call.
I just have a question.
Councillor
Have
Nicol.
we heard when those traps are going to be available?
Go ahead, Jackie.
Through the worship, we do have them available now, and we will be putting something out on social media to let people know that we have them available.
County of Middlesex Official Plan Amendment, notice of the public meeting on Tuesday, May 24th.
Mayor Rob, if I may. I would just like to encourage everyone to attend and participate in that if at all possible. Unfortunately, it is at 2:00 in the afternoon, but it really is informative opportunity to see how the planning process is and to give some input. I know I participated in the last public forum and there was a number of councillors that were on there. And I think this is our opportunity to provide some of our insights into and suggestions as to how we'd like to see the plan evolve. So if it's at all possible to do that, I think you can register through the county website. I don't know if it's on this notice or not.
Okay, thank you. North Middlesex District High School 2022 commencement, June 29th, 2022 at 7:30 at the school gymnasium, and they have a request to present the award. The other thing, as well as this, Amber's looking into talking with the principal at this time to see about the recipients, if there's recipients for the ring, for the North Middlesex ring. So if it's all right with you, we won't put anybody on this until the next meeting. We can just say we will attend and we will present. Someone will, and if that's all right with everyone, we'll just hold off till then to see if we have the rings. If we're doing that as well, they have recipients. Anything else on that? Aqua Water Talks, the 22 webinar. Receive and file. Anything on that? Okay. Other and urgent business. Anyone have other business? No? Seeing none? Deferred items from previous meetings, you see them in front of you. There will be a report possibly at next meeting coming forward.
Through your worship, to members of council, the vaccination policy will be coming up a little bit in the vacant land one. Staff is working on it, but there's a lot of moving parts in terms of the uniqueness of certain lands to cluster them in together. We've reached out to third-party telecommunications to see if there is an interest there. And I've also reached out to the county treasurer to try to spur on some communication for low or geared to income housing. And also I've reached out to ABCA in terms of some other options that could be available from somewhere else. So there's a lot of moving parts, but a report will be coming to council in the next couple of months.
Just as a follow-up to your comment there about geared income housing, I'm not sure if it'd be worthwhile to connect with the Housing Development Corporation in the city because they work in partnership with LMCH to develop housing for those people in poverty.
I can certainly look at their follow-up with them and see if there's some interest as a group there. And
We have a meeting tomorrow night. I can ask. And let you know.
I can send you some baseline communication right now
Sure.
that identifies some of the lands that we have.
Sure.
That will go a long way. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Communications, including county council. You do have that report in front of you under correspondence. Is there anything you want to add, Deputy Mayor?
No, I just wanted to make a comment on the public meeting for the planning.
Okay, any questions for anybody on the county report, on the county communications? None? Bylaws.
I think that's almost a record meeting in our last little while. Listed on the agenda is the bylaws for council's consideration. The majority of them are relating to the drainage passed earlier this evening. So we're looking for first and second reading for bylaw 46 to 53.
Councillor Nicol, Councillor Moyer, all in favor? Carried.
And third and final reading for all bylaws.
Counselor Keo, Counselor Hemming, all in favor? Carried. And I don't know if we can adjourn. Counselor McClinchy isn't here, so I'm not sure what we'll do. But Counselor Keo, move to adjourn, seconded by Counselor Hemming, all in favor? Carried. And you're right, I think that is the shortest council meeting that we've had.